Spiderman, Spiderman, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Good evening, Christy.
Hiya, Phil. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. How you been doing? Folks, please start sharing. This is going to be an amazing show today. We've got one of the, how can I say, one of the national heroes on, and he's a superhero. He is an actual superhero. He's the only person I know in the country who's attacked a paedophile statue twice within a year. He's unbelievable, isn't he? Absolutely unbelievable. And the story he's got to tell is, I didn't realise half of what he's actually done, like doing. Please share, folks. Get this shared out everywhere. I will share it myself in a minute. But first of all, we're just going to spend a couple of minutes talking with Christy regarding what she's actually been up to. He's actually disappeared. Oh, no. He's not there anymore, Christy. Christy, if you want to chat for the next couple of minutes regarding what you've been up to this week, and I'll start getting this shared out, all right?
Yeah, I was wondering if we talked about Honor Oak, because we weren't on last week, were we?
No, but we can talk about the 24th if you want.
What's the 24th?
It's the next Honor Oak.
Oh, the next one. Yeah, but did we talk about the one that we were at last time?
You can talk about that. I'm just going to be in the process. You can carry on doing your bit until we can get Dave back on.
We went up to Honor Oak, and there wasn't as many of us as there was the last time, the time before. There was a few. It was an okay turnout, but it should have been better. And they'd moved us. So last time they were by that side of the pub and we were over the other side of the road. But this time they were like all in front of the pub, and they'd like put us quite far away from it. So we were like a different sort of angle. So, yeah, it was the usual being shouted at. They had a big flag there with the education. People were there standing with the stand up to racism and LGBT and all that. So, yeah, so we were there, and, you know, it was quite good anyway. You know, it was the people who were there made it good. And, you know, we stood, you know, for the best we could to like get the truth out and chat to people and stuff. But it's horrible seeing like the families coming out of the pub with their little children. But, you know, I don't think there was as many stand up to racism mind or LGBT supporters as there was either before. So there was less of us, but there was less of them as well. But yeah, it went well, and it was good, and glad we went. A few of us went up from Cardiff. I know Phil was already there when we arrived. So that was that. That was a couple of weeks ago. And then
what I was a little bit disappointed about was those people who took their children in, they actually got their children to wave at us on the protest line. Yeah. And then you had Stand Up to Racism and Antifa. They were chanting away, and they were like swearing. Do you mean in their chants, like fuck this? And do you mean? Yeah. And that's not a very good thing to actually push out towards the children.
That's what I think. Like, no matter whether you agree with it or not, okay, because obviously some people do, because they take their children there. So whether you're on either side, it's unbelievable that parents wouldn't rock up to that pub and see that there's people screaming and shouting, there's a protest on both sides, and not just take their children home. Like, no matter what I thought, I wouldn't be going through a protest with small children in prams, especially as the last time there was arrests and Antifa, and there was people like fighting on the other side that weren't on our side, their side. So it's really like not a good situation for a child to be in. And some of them bring their children to scream at us that we're fascist scum and stuff, which I find really disturbing because, you know, I certainly wouldn't take my young children to come and scream at them anything, you know. I mean, it's just there's a time and a place for children. And to me, that's not a place for them. But they obviously think it's okay and to walk their children through it. And, you know, so it's very sad for the children because in their eyes, what must they be thinking, seeing people screaming and shouting and adults, and they don't know what, you know, I mean, their parents have just told them that we're probably bad people and that we're against drag queens, but you know, we're just against the sexualization of children. Maybe when they're older, they'll probably, they might feel the same, who knows, but to take them through that is crazy.
Right, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to bring the superhero on, the nation's favorite, because he is a nation's hero. He's written a book as well, folks, about his exploits. He's a fabulous man to talk to. It's going to be eye-opening what this man's actually done, like, to me. I will be. If you see my head down like this, it's just me sharing. So let's welcome David Chick onto the show tonight. Awesome guy. A lot of respect for this guy.
Oh yeah.
Evening, David.
Hi, Philip. You all right?
Yeah, you'll have to try and speak up a little bit. I should have said you're actually a man of actually direct action, because that's what you actually do. You're not one of these
yes, mate,
little bit keyboard warriors. You actually do the business.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
So what actually made you actually go up that? Well, let's show a couple of pictures. But what made you feel that you had to go up to the statue and deface it?
Well, when I first saw it during an anti-lockdown protest back in 2021, I think it was, it didn't look right, basically. And I know a bit about the BBC's history, etc., Jimmy Savile and all that. And I did a bit of a search about the guy who sculpted it.
Looks like we've lost him again.
Come back, Spiderman.
Spiderman, don't appear on me.
He's gone to spin a web. He'll be back now.
Perhaps he's gone up the statue again. He will be back now, folks. But yeah, so he did it last year. I'm trying to. Something's not going right here.
Yeah, I didn't know he'd done it last year. The first time I'd seen him was the other day, and saw him up there, and I was just like, wow, brilliant. This is what we need. We need people who are gutsy, who are willing to like step outside of the box and just go for it. And I was thinking, brilliant. But I didn't know anything about him other than seeing him the other day. So you're saying he was there before, was he? Apparently, allegedly.
Yeah. But allegedly this time he was actually up the scaffolding. But allegedly, no, it was allegedly that he did the damage. But I've got a few pictures. You can't tell it's him doing the damage. Fair play, mind. When you got a mask on like that, he will be back in a minute.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Good for him.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, because, you know, at the end of the day, the statue stands for a guy who's a paedophilia, isn't it? And with a little child in front of him like that, it's gross.
Yeah, that was a damage he actually, well, that was a second time. He is trying again to get back on here, he is.
When was the first time he did it then?
Last year, I think it was. I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to get him back on because it's. I think it might be a signal. You can't tell it's him, can you?
No, not at all. I would have never known.
But that
Thank
was a
you.
damage. That was a damage done on the first attempt, I think.
Right, okay.
I think that was a damage done. He's back.
Right, we need to get him to tell us now before we lose him again.
Yeah. So this is the original well, this is a statue as it was before David got to it.
Huh.
So could you tell all the viewers the first time you actually went up there? I know your signal's bad.
Yeah, that was January the 12th last year, mate.
So 16 months ago.
Yes, mate. Just coming up 17 months now. 12th January it was.
So was this the damage that you actually did the first time, wasn't it?
It was, mate. Yes.
So you had a little go of that with just a hammer, wasn't it?
Well, I had a hammer and a chisel with me at the time, but I couldn't use the chisel because I needed one hand to hold on, one hand for the hammer, and obviously we've only got two hands. I needed three hands to be able to use the chisel as well, so I just had to use the hammer on that occasion.
So what was the reason why you wanted to damage the statue?
Well, basically,
was it the history behind it?
The statue is basically a monument to paedophilia. The guy who commissioned it, John Reeve, back in the early 1930s, he was obsessed with young children, basically a paedophile. The guy who sculpted it, Eric Gill, he had sex with his sisters, with his daughter, and with the family dog. Obviously, the statue depicts paedophilia in the fact that it's a man holding a naked child, with the child holding a flute. I wonder what that represented in their sick minds. You know what I mean? The whole thing just screams paedophilia. And then you've got the Jimmy Savile link with the BBC. You've got Rolf Harris, Gary Glitter, Stuart Hall. It just goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody with a brain cell who does a little investigating will basically work out that statue screams paedophilia.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you.
I don't think it should be there. You know, if they want that statue, if the statue is so good and by such a good sculptor, put it inside your building, put it in a museum. We the people don't want to be looking at it as we walk past it, you know. And it obviously will remind certain people who've been sexually abused of what happened to them, and you know it's offensive, it's disgusting, it shouldn't be there. And in my mind, I do morally right things. So basically, it was my mission to do enough damage to the statue to get it removed. When that didn't happen, and I found out a month or so ago that they was going to repair my original damage, that was the cue for me to go back there and have another try.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I think the whole of the nation was right behind you. Yeah, the whole of the nation was right behind you when you did it the first time. When you done it the second time, I think you ended up in a lot of people's hearts for what you actually did, because you like I said, you're a man of action. He's gone again.
Come back, Spidey.
He's having very, very big problems with his.
Give Spidey a medal. Yeah, I know, definitely.
Definitely.
When I saw him, I was so chuffed. I was buzzing that day. I was like, yes, go on.
Yeah, well, we've all wanted that statue to go down. But it was the BBC who gave him the opportunity for the second time, because when they turned around and said they were going to repair the damage that David actually done on the first time, it gave him the perfect opportunity to actually climb that scaffolding and start defacing it again. Which is, I don't call it defacing it. I think it's it should be ripped down, and as simple as that. Like,
Of course
so
it should.
I'm hoping Dave, because the thing is, Dave's having problems with his signal, I think. But last week I was meant to have him on, and his phone just couldn't cope with going live. So Dave's popping in and out. Here he comes again. Let's get him on.
You have to get him to say as much as he can. Right. Come on, Dave, Spidey. Use your powers.
Yeah. Doing. I've been trying. Right, Dave, again. I think you're gonna have to keep on coming in and out all the time if you get kicked off. Obviously, it's your signal.
Yeah, it keeps cutting out, mate.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to say as much as you can, as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Every time you come on. So, Dave, the first time you did it, that was over 17 months ago. So, what have the police actually not charged you, or?
I haven't been charged. No, it's just coming up for 17 months now. Basically, you know, to investigate what I did that day, it's like a 5-minute job. They've had 17 months to investigate it. I'm released under investigation. Basically, they haven't taken it to court. I caused over £5,000 worth of damage, apparently, which basically means you go in front of a jury. They know deep down that anybody, I can convince any jury that statue is what it obviously is, which will result in a not guilty verdict, and will be more confirmation that the statue is what it is, and it shouldn't be there, and it'll be heap more embarrassment on the BBC for still having it there. So that's basically why it's been 17 months without them charging me for something I obviously blatantly did. It's all over the internet. 20 police watched it at the time. It's just yet another cover up of paedophilia, because they're all involved in it. The BBC, the police, the state. It's just so sick, the world we're living in these days.
Yeah, it is sick. Really bad. Seems to be getting worse, but it's probably always been like it. But I just think I'm noticing it more now. I'm seeing it more and more. It's everywhere, isn't it?
It's getting worse now because all the media are so corrupt. You know, no media are putting out the truth. It's all like whatever the government tell the media to say, whether it's true or not. And most of it ain't true what they're pumping out. So people's heads are just all like shot to pieces.
Facebook user
pumping out all the time.
Yeah,
Facebook
I agree.
Sorry.
Facebook user, if you go on to either my profile, Philip Palmer, or Real News Live News, you can share it from there. It's not a problem. You won't have a problem at all if you share it from there. Yeah, so you had the perfect opportunity when they decided, when the BBC decided to put scaffolding around it and to repair the statue. So obviously it gave you the idea to go straight back up that statue, didn't it?
Well, the thing is, I've been back there. This attempt here was my 6th attempt to do a protest at the statue. I did the one in January, obviously. I also went back twice last August and sort of basically couldn't do it because, like, the first time I went back in August, I didn't realise I had security on the 24/7, so I wasn't prepared for that.
Oh, he's gone again. We're gonna keep on trying to get him on. Yeah, I know it's a bit difficult, but he did go up there on the opportunity because obviously the BBC wanted to repair the damage to that statue instead of trying to. Well, what they should have done is just taken it down, full stop. He's back again. Let's see if we can get him back in. David actually got a little bit. So, David, did you get angry when they turned around and said that they were going to repair the statue?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed at all with that decision.
No.
And
that was my cue. That was my cue to go back down there. on May the 20th and do what I did. And it was nice
So-
when she put the scaffolding up, thinking of my health and safety, like making it a bit easier as well. Very nice of you, BBC, but I will be sending you the bill for my masonry work to get rid of your paedophile statue. Which if they'd involved, they'd have done themselves. You know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was fascinating watching you. And when you're having a little break and you're just having your little snack on your tray, I was watching you or something. And then off you went, chipping away. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
well, I took a little break. I got there this time for 14 hours, like, and obviously, like, all my sort of hammering was being done for my right hand, which was like covered in blisters all over my hand. You know, it wasn't the easiest job in the world, but I'll give it my best shot. I could have done a lot better. Could have done more damage. I could have stayed up there longer, but if certain things didn't go to plan. But I'll go my best shot. You know, I've done it twice now. I've done more than anybody else has ever done that statue in all these 90 odd years it's been there. It's a shame that I wish other people could get up off their arse and actually do something rather than just sit on their computers doing tip tap, you know. But that's the world we live in these days. People just say like lazy, spineless, don't do anything, talk about it, all sort of mouth and no action. We need people who are going to act against the evil that's going on.
Definitely. What is the statue then? Because it looked like it's really hard to actually. It's not. What is it made out of? It's
made of I think it's called cayenne marble. It is absolutely rock hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get get a lot off it.
Yeah, well, ideally I should have took a bottle jack or an angle grinder, but like obviously not being able to use my chisel on the first attempt because I was going to be able to use it this time. I was hoping that was going to be enough. I've done a lot of damage this time, probably like virtually 50 times more damage this time than I did in last January. And the statue is pretty much beyond repairable. You'd have thought, but the BBC, being who the BBC are, they'll probably still try and repair it because that's what they're all about, you know.
Yeah, that's right. We have got a comment going up on the bottom of the live now, folks. This is actually David's book, Kid or Kill. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it on. You can either email David at davidchick@hotmail.co.uk. But on Amazon, you can get it in Kindle form for £6, or you can buy the hardback version for £12, folks. But we'll carry on. I'm just explaining what's at the bottom. So if anybody's interested in buying that book, you just go onto Amazon or email Dave. We'll carry on. When you climbed it, how long before the police actually turned up? The second time
or the first one? Second time. I wasn't actually timing it, but it was probably about a quarter of an hour, I'd say.
And you actually you had negotiators come up as well, didn't you? On a crane. I saw that bit, but that was later on in the day.
Well, there was a couple sort of talking to me from above. There's like a balcony above where I was. They were sort of talking to me from there. A couple of guys, policemen, sort of rope team negotiators for a while. And then a couple of female police officers were talking to me from the same place. And then the two female police officers came up in a cherry picker because I said to them I was getting a bit pissed off having to keep looking up to them. I was getting a bit of a neck ache. So they sort of come up with a cherry picker and sort of eye to eye level to show me having to sort of look up in the air. I don't really like looking up to them. I prefer them looking up to me.
Yeah. Did they give you any sandwiches or anything like that, or hot drinks?
I got a bottle of water out of them, and they gave me a cap because I was apparently concerned I was getting a bit sunburnt on my head and my neck or something.
So they were thinking about you.
Oh yeah, they always thinking about me. They love me, really. They just won't admit it.
So what were they trying to say to you to persuade you to come down?
What were they saying to try and persuade me to come down? It's just making out there's concerned about my health and safety and all this bollocks, yeah. So basically, that was the cue for me to say, well, yeah, that's you are meant to be concerned about my health and safety, but I did a protest back in the early 2000s on Tower Bridge, and they weren't concerned about my health and safety that day because they basically tried to shame me into jumping from a crane to kill myself.
What?
So, like, you know,
what was that? Hang on. Why
Yeah.
you up there? Why
Yeah,
were you
it
up there? Because I don't know about this.
I
Yeah.
was fighting for my daughter. I was doing protest about what happened to me and my daughter. Basically, my daughter was ripped out of my life for no reason back in the early 2000s for literally 4.5 years. And I've done a few protests on cranes and on the London Eye with banners about, you know, trying to raise public awareness of what the evil, sick family law system is doing to children and fathers in this country. And I was at Tower Bridge for 6 days dressed as Spiderman in 2003.
Wow.
They decided to try and, well, they shut Tower Bridge for 5 days, which didn't need to be shut for 2 seconds, but that's just what they do. And then basically the police leaked details of a conviction I had from 17 years earlier to the Sun newspaper. The Sun newspaper printed the story. I'm obviously up on the crane still. Then the police, it was agreed that I was coming down at 15:12 on the 5th of November, 15:12 being my daughter's date of birth, which my protest was about. At 1500 hours, 10 minutes before I was due down, the police brought me up batteries for my walkie-talkie, which had died, so I could now communicate or be told anything by my guy on the ground with the other walkie-talkie. And he told me, after being shown the Sun newspaper by the police and threatened that if he didn't tell me about the story that he'd be arrested on the same charge as me, he told me that the headline is in the paper on the 5th of November that Spider-Man is a pervert, to try and shame me into jumping. That was all about. And I'd also find out years later that the story relayed to me that day, which could only be relayed to me with the battery delivery that had taken place, thanks to the police. I'd find out that that story was actually published the following day, the 6th of November. So the police, the Sun, had mocked the story up, especially the day before, in a pretend newspaper, all in order to hopefully shame me into committing suicide from the crane. Absolutely simple. I've got the police statements, got the incident logs. It's all there. It's all there. But you know, that's a peaceful protester. My daughter was 2 years old at the time, and they tried to get me to commit suicide. Absolutely evil. The world we're living in.
Yeah. So get this right, folks. David was up on this crane, right? He'd already spent 6 days there. He was just about to come down, right? Now, they actually stopped the traffic around Tower Bridge. I've read a little bit about it. And they didn't need to stop that traffic.
They shut Tower Bridge for 5 days for no legitimate reason.
Yeah. And they only opened it a couple of hours before you came down.
They opened it as soon as they'd said throughout the protest they couldn't open the bridge until I'm down on health and safety grounds. I was still up there when they opened it up, and they only opened it up when they heard me say on the walkie-talkie, which they were listening to all the conversations. They only opened Tower Bridge up after they heard me say that I was getting low on food and water and cigarettes, and that my protest was going to be ending within the next sort of few hours, next day, whatever. So their methodology was then going to be, oh look, within 24 hours of us opening the bridge, he's come down. Aren't we clever? But that contradicted what they've been saying all week. But you know, but they just get away with it. And then to try and dig themselves out of that hole, because they knew they were basically, they knew there was very little chance of getting a conviction against me because it was them who chose to close the roads. It was their stupid tactics and their pathetic games. Their hope to get out of it all was basically, if they could get me to jump, there'd be no prosecution, which I was going to lose, which they did lose. I was found not guilty of the public nuisance which they caused. Yeah, if I was, there would be no more protest for me. They wouldn't have to look up at me for days, weeks, while I look down on them. And but they just get away, literally get away with trying to kill people, or you know.
My
I thought
God,
about
that's shocking.
when I heard about their story that they got printed. I thought about jumping for a split second. I was already heartbroken with what had been going on with me and my daughter. I've been up on that crane for 6 days. I was tired, hungry, fatigued. I'd had all their 5 days of Talbot's closed psychological warfare games had been pumping into me, like trying to make it as my fault. And then boom, I'm told that in the Sun newspaper, the biggest selling newspaper, is a story. Spider-Man's a pervert. Really?
Oh, that's sick.
Really?
Absolutely sick. Yeah, I read the story about the police could have actually turned the crane away from the road anyway. You were in no danger. They said in the correspondence, the police actually said on day one that nobody was in danger. You wasn't in danger, and you were of sound mind. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously they wanted to turn the public against you. So what they decided to do is close the road.
Yeah. They closed Talbot for 5 days, causing like tens of £millions worth of cost to the local economy and to businesses in the area. Infuriated millions of motorists stuck in traffic for hours on end, trying to get everybody to think, to blame me for it all. But like I say, I put all this together in that documentary that you've had a look at, Phil. If people have a look at the last sort of 8 minutes of the documentary called 666 Met Filth, which is on YouTube, you will see the evidence of the police delivering me batteries and the Sun story. Their attempt to kill me by me committing suicide. Absolutely blatant. Absolutely blatant.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the documentary Dave's on about, it's easy to find. Just type in 666. It's Met Filth, isn't it? That's it.
666 Met Filth, and it's on YouTube. Yep.
Yeah, I found it straight away. Now the comment at the bottom is going along. It's about your book, Kid Kill. Now, was that written about? That was written about when you climbed the London Eye.
Basically, that's got all my life in it up until sort of 2021. It hasn't got anything about the statues in it. I self-published that book in 2021, in March of 2021. And you might find this a bit strange. Within 2 weeks of publishing that book, I was sectioned.
What?
What a coincidence! What a coincidence!
Oh,
Really?
that is mad. That is absolutely bonkers, to be honest with you, isn't it?
And another little bonkers thing is basically after I got my daughter back in my life in the sort of middle of 2006, after I got family law out of our lives, I had no involvement with the police or anything along those lines for the next sort of 12 years, and I had a really brilliant relationship with my daughter. No problems, no involvement with the police. But then, literally a couple of weeks before my daughter's 18th birthday, her big 18th birthday, the police were back in my life, and just in time for her birthday, I was sectioned.
Oh my God! What?
That's
really?
They just fuck people's lives up because they can.
Yeah.
Basically, that was revenge best served cold. All the grief I'd given them back in the early 2000s. Absolutely.
So, how did you climb the London Eye then?
How did I climb it? Well, it used to have like a ladder going around it all the way around, which they sort of took down not long after I climbed it. So it's not as easy to climb these days as it was back then. But yeah, I climbed it. Like I say, had a ladder going all the way around it.
So you climbed it there because you weren't able to see your daughter, is that right? You were stopped from seeing her.
I was never stopped from seeing my daughter. I was always had a contact order to see my daughter. When I climbed the London Eye, it'd been 18 months since I'd had 1 second with my daughter.
Right.
So I climbed the London Eye. I stayed there for 18 hours, basically an hour for each of the months I hadn't seen my daughter. And it was just 3 months after I climbed the London Eye, after a lot more bullshit from the police and the establishment, etc. But it was just 3 months after that I saw my daughter for the first time, and by then it was 21 months. So it's the first time I saw her in 21 months. But that was sort of I'd sort of built up my protest. I'd done various cranes, I'd done a football pitch, appeared on a football pitch, whatever. And the London Eye one was the sort of catalyst that sort of made the family law system sort of make sure me and my daughter did get back to see each other. Because, like I say, for 21 months, my daughter's mum had ignored the contact order. The court hadn't enforced their contact order. But the sickest thing about it all, really, you know, when me and my daughter, when me and my daughter never had a problem. Basically, her mum made up a load of bullshit, and the family law system went along with the mum like they do. The solicitors don't give a shit. I had everything laid on a plate for the solicitors, for the family law system, to see that it was my daughter's mum who was the abusive one, who was making the threats. I've still got her threats on audio conversations. She's going to play really fucked up and stop me seeing my daughter. I've got emails between her and her friends basically saying, oh, she just doesn't love me anymore. And I told her a lie or something. But to the family court, she's saying I'm abusive, I'm violent, I'm threatening to kill her. It's just all there. It was so blatant what was going on. The system don't give a shit about the children, don't really give a shit about the fathers. All the system, all the family law, all any of them really give a shit about is it's getting all your money. I don't give a shit about the children, none of them.
It's a closed court as well, isn't it, Dave? The thing is, with a closed court, yeah, it's all closed.
Yeah.
All done in secret. Yeah.
I've got all the documents from the court case, etc. Still, I've got everything. Basically, the expert involved in their case years later wrote, if the mother has I can't remember the exact wording, if the mother has basically told lies to stop Mr. Chick from seeing his daughter, that is basically serious child emotional child abuse, which should result in the child's residence being reversed. So basically my daughter should have been residing with me, but all I got from the court was like 2 hours of supervised contact per week. And like I say, we can turn around and wouldn't give us that, stuck her fingers up to the judge, to me, to my daughter. And she wouldn't allow us any contact. That went on for like 21 months, like I say. At one point, 21 months without seeing my daughter. Absolutely evil. Throughout that time, I've done all my peaceful protests. I wasn't violent, or I haven't been quite so peaceful with my last two protests regarding the fucking paedophile statue, yeah? But all my protests before were totally peaceful. And I've got not one conviction. I've been up in the air in London 7 times now, hundreds of feet. I spent over 2 weeks in the air. I've got not got one conviction. I haven't done anything wrong, or I would have been convicted. And even with the statue last January, I haven't been charged. It's all going.
Let's make the public know, mind, that the conviction you had was getting caught having sex in a public place, basically, like we all do. We all done it, but we never
don't all, Phil. No.
Yeah, but
hold on.
You've never been caught.
If you've had any sex in public, you're all perverts. Yeah, you're all going to be in the sun next week. Stated as being a pervert. Yeah, just make sure you're not 100 feet up in the air when the story comes out, because they might try and get you to jump as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've all done it when you're younger. You've done it in places which you shouldn't be doing it. It was just unlucky that you got caught.
Right. It's all in my book. Everything's in my book. That's in my book as well. That was probably a setup as well, because the police were known for doing that sort of thing back in the day, setting people up, entrapping people.
Oh, crackers,
good
mate.
For you though, to everything you've done. I think it's amazing, really, really good, and I think everyone watching love it. I think it was brilliant what you did. It was fantastic. When it fell, we would like buzzing about it. It was so.
I was
watching you.
Can you tell? I haven't done anything I've done to be amazing. I've done things basically on my
For fair
protest
play.
regarding my daughter. I was fighting for my daughter, for myself, for all the other fathers and children being failed in the family court system. Yeah, that was what all my initial protests were about, and even my last 2 protests regarding the paedophile statute at the BBC. I do that because that's morally right thing to do. The statute is what it is. Anybody with a brain cell who investigates that statute, what's behind it, who commissioned it, who sculptured it, they will see and realise that everything about it screams paedophilia, and it shouldn't be there. So I do what is right. I do what is morally right. I do things from the heart. Yeah, and I just get decades of shit from it for it from the police and the establishment and the state, and I'm still here at the moment, still fighting on.
Good.
Yeah,
Struggling.
you're still here. But it's cost. It has. I don't know if you want to tell everybody about the cost it's cost you regarding your attempt.
Just a statue with the sort of back last January. I tried to do it. It cost me about 300 quid. I tried to do it in August. Like I'm talking about hiring vehicles and hiring ladders. I've spent. I went down on March the 31st this year. I took 8 guys with me to try and make sure I got up the ladders, etc. Like I paid out £2,000 for them, for each, not each, £2,000 between the 8 guys. I hired 2 sets of ladders. That cost me like £180 for hiring them. Obviously, the ladders were left there when I had to abort that attempt, because basically the security guys come out, started pushing the ladders down, and 7 of the 8 guys I'd sort of employed to make sure I got up there, they all sort of ran off. The ladders were left there. I got charged another 650 quid for the loss of the 2 ladders. The statue job, my statue attempts has cost me like over £5,000. So like, yeah, it's a head fuck. I ain't really got £5,000, but well, I did have, and it's gone, and I'm pretty on my arse these days. But shit happens, as they say.
So one of the ways, one of the ways to help you, there's 2 ways. You can either buy David's book from Amazon, or you can email Dave at davidchick@hotmail.co.uk with hyphen on between the Dave and the Chick. It's rolling along the bottom. But what we have got as well, if you'd like to make a donation to him or something directly without buying the book for, let me see if I can get it up. I will donate later, Dave. I will put something in as well.
I'll buy the book. I can't wait to read your book.
Yeah, I'm tempted to read. I'm tempted to buy the book as well. Like, right. So
don't judge it on the quality of the writing, because I'm not a writer, as you're probably aware. I'm a protester, yeah. But if you see what the story entails, the evil shit that they've done to me, and the way I fought back peacefully, you know, it's a totally insane story.
Yeah. So another way of supporting Dave is you can actually pay up, because he did set up a GoFundMe page. Am I right? Yeah. And they take
someone said I should set up a GoFund. Someone suggested I set up a GoFund for when I've done the statue again, to try and sort of recoup some of the costs and expenses, etc. There was a few £100 donated on that, but I didn't get a penny of that, because GoFund, apparently I'd broken some laws or rules or something, and they basically returned everybody's money back to them. So that was another fail, a bit of another fail, which, as I say again, shit happens, and I do get my fair share of shit happening. But maybe I'll bring it on myself, because like I take on the establishment, I take on the child abusers, and I take on the paedophiles, and I do what I do, you know.
But yeah, I'm sure a lot of the country would have supported you and put money into that GoFundMe. But what I've got at the bottom of the screen now, it's a way you can make a donation straight to Dave to pay back, just give him back something little. I didn't mean towards the cost. He paid £5,000. He's still likely to go to prison anyway. So please catch that at the bottom if you want to donate something into his account. It's all there. It's all at the bottom, folks.
I wouldn't wouldn't say likely to go to prison, Phil. That's a 50-50.
No, I don't think you will go to prison, but there is a possibility you could go to prison.
Oh yeah,
hope
there's a
not.
possibility.
Because obviously the charges the charges could be a lot more than just criminal damage or whatever, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, possible, yeah. But like I say, they've had 17 months, and they've had 17 months to investigate something that takes like basically 5 minutes to investigate, and it's 17 months on, and they ain't charged me or dropped it. Released under investigation, 17 months on. It's a fucking joke, mate. You know what I mean? A sick, evil joke.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
That's what it's all about. It's all games. It's all games. It's all games. Fucking people's minds up. Fucking people's heads up.
So,
but as long as they keep their pedo statue, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Repair it. Really?
This is what I found funny, Christy, right? Is when he got bailed for the first time. One of it. Can you tell Christy what your restrictions was?
Restrictions. Well, I was banned from going to any BBC buildings, I think. Banned from going inside the M25. That was about it. Much.
Yeah. So as soon as the restrictions were lifted, you went straight away and went for another attempt, didn't you?
Oh well. As soon as I was bailed for the first 4 months after the initial attack last January. Then it changed from being bailed to being released under investigation, and at that point the bail conditions were removed. So that was why I went down twice in August with 2 more failed attempts to sort of protest at the statue. And not so I went down again in December. When I went down in December, I took a guy with me to sort of help me with the ladder. But when we got down there, it was like in December, it's freezing. All the ladder was frozen. There was not only the security sort of stood by the statue, but the barriers was also out, which we weren't expecting. So that was another abort. And then I went down, like I say, I went March the 31st with the 8 guys. And I've told you this bit already, so I won't repeat myself. But no, it's there were a few fails and a few aborts. Obviously, May the 20th, I went back there and gave it a lot better go than I did first time around. Not quite as good as I would like to sort of take the heads right off, but that wasn't quite possible. But I totally the heads, all the features on the child on Ariel's head have gone. I got rid of the arms. I got rid of the flute. I smashed quite a lot of the body. And on Prospero, I took all his features out: his eyes, his nose, a lot of his sort of facial sort of features. So, like, you know, to any normal human being, that statue would be declared irreparable, but not the BBC. They'll fucking repair it because that's what they are. Paedophiles, all of them.
Do you honestly think they're not going to take? They've got to take it down. They've got to take it down.
Well, we'll see, mate. We'll see over the next few months, like. But I know they're going to be a bit behind schedule because I was planning to have it having the repair work from last year. I was hoping to get it repaired by June the 19th. I'm pretty sure they ain't going to get that block repaired by June.
The thing is, you've raised awareness of it as well, because when I was watching the live streams, like, people were asking what it was about, who was there, what was it. So a lot of people they didn't know anything about the statue. So by what you did, you raised a lot of people who were, you know, the awareness, and people were shocked.
Right, but even my protest a couple of weeks back, that was majorly suppressed. Like the cordon they put in the police cordon, they extended it. It was like 100-meter cordon. Nobody could get within 100 meters towards the last few hours of that process, just to basically minimise people who'd been able to sort of see what was going on and see the amount of damage, etc. You know, and there weren't really a lot in the media about it, to be honest with you. Compared to my first visit back last January, there was a lot more media coverage than there was this time. A lot more sort of on YouTube and on TikTok, etc. Thousands, tens and hundreds of thousands of more views last year than there was this year. And this year it was like 14-hour job. Compared to last year, it was a 4-hour job. This year was a lot of damage done. Last year there was a tiny bit of damage done. So like it's all been twisted and skewed like they do to like minimise people seeing what's going on, etc.
Yeah, it was my mate Alan. He actually was filming you because the guy who's sleeping there actually put a live out, and Alan saw it, and then Alan comes straight down because he only lives in Victoria, and he was filming it for about 4 hours, I think it was. Well, Alan's the one who put me in touch with you.
Right.
But he did a great job, but there was nobody else there. He had to zoom in. He had to zoom in on his camera to get the footage because the police moved that cordon back quite early because they didn't want great footage by everybody else. It was simple as that. Like,
yeah, blatant. Yeah, it's all like so many things. It's all about covering up and suppressing the truth, suppressing what's really going on, and not letting people sort of see or know about what's going on if they don't want them to know about it or hear about it, or if it's a bit embarrassing to them.
So, Dave, how many costumes have you got?
How many costumes? Well, I ain't got my mask anymore. They kept that one from the weekend, from a couple of weeks back. My mask. I've got a few bits and pieces of costumes about. Probably, I don't know, about 1.5. But it's not about the costume. It's not about the costume. It's about the issue.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day,
I just thought, like, obviously, like I used to be sort of Spiderman with my protest, like, and I just thought, you know, returning to the statue, Spiderman returns. So I just thought I'd stick the outfit, well, the hood back on, just to give it a bit more of a Spiderman returns theme.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, you're going to get people who are going to say, "Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that." But at the end of the day, they're the ones who are on the keyboards. I was watching the live, and they were all coming, "Oh, you should have taken this, you should have taken that, or you should have done that, or you should have done this." But my words to these keyboard warriors, you can only really judge somebody for doing wrong if you're not prepared to. You've got to be prepared to do it yourself. Like, do you mean? If you're not prepared to go and do something like direct action, then you better keep your mouth shut, really, because you're not in a position to actually judge you for doing something which you did right, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Everybody else has had the opportunity to sort of do anything along the lines that I've done at that statue for the last 90 years. No one else has done a thing to it. So, like,
you get it twice.
People who sort of sit there and say, "I should have done this, should have done it." Well, off you go then. Show me how to do it. You do it.
Yeah, exactly.
People, mate. People.
What I'm going to say now is I'm going to finish it here. I might actually bring you back on, Dave, on a different day, a different show. But we're going to cut this short because it's coming up to the hour now. But thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers for having me on, yeah.
Everybody that's watching loves you to bits, mate. Everybody loves you to bits because they know that you've done the right thing. Do you mean? And I wish you the best of luck. I will push out your book, and I also put out the bank details as well, where you can help David as well. I will put that out. So I'm going to catch you later, Dave, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay?
Philip, thanks, mate. Take care, yeah. Cheers, Christy.
Thanks, Dave.
Sarah.
See ya.
Weren't you a wonderful guest?
He's brilliant. I'd love to hear more about it, but I'm going to buy his book. I just put it in my basket while we were.
Have you?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So you just bought his book?
It's in my Amazon basket. Not that I usually buy off Amazon, but as this Dave, I'm going to.
Did you buy hardback or did you buy it on the Kindle?
£12.99.
So you bought the hardback?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well done, you. It would be definitely an interest read. Believe it or not, I'm still trying to share this.
I want to read it. I want to hear all about what happened because, like, that was just a little snippet. So I want to hear the whole story. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, definitely. He's just an amazing guy. Like, to me, at the end of the day, I personally think he was trying to stand up for fathers who were struggling to see their children, even though they got access and that, and where the other parent actually gets in the way to stop it, so you don't get so much access. And he was standing up for the parents. But now the law has actually changed regarding what's happening in family courts. It is recorded. Everything is slightly different at the moment. You are allowed press in there now, aren't you? That was a new law that the press was actually allowed to go into family courts. So I think, yeah. I'm sure in certain cases. So because people do lie, try to get custody and access. Sometimes it's really nasty affair, like, and nothing's really happened. They're just gone apart from each other. So I think he did highlighted that about dad's rights.
Yeah. Well, it was back in the day when they were doing all these things, weren't they? You know, obviously he was doing his thing, but there was another group of people that were doing what were they called? Dads for Justice, Fathers for Justice.
Yeah.
So
well, he did tell us before the show he did use one of their banners, but he had no connection with them really. But he was given a banner to use on his next demonstration, like so. Yeah. Oh, mate, I tell you what, the guy actually does direct action. Like, he's not a keyboard warrior, and this is the sort of person I like, you know, because he's actually gone out there and not once did he attack that statue. He did it twice, like, doing, and he's attempted it 6 times.
That's so cool.
4 times in between, like, oh, just amazing, absolutely amazing. All right, then.
Can you what?
I didn't say anything.
Can you put the link on my Facebook when you shared it? You know, when you share it with the real news. Sorry, can you put the link to this? Because how will they join if there's no link on it?
No link.
You know, when you tagged me in it.
Yeah.
Sorry about this, everyone.
Oh, look, we're having the best domestic now.
Let's
folks.
leave that then. Go on. What were you going to say?
When I put the show out, it's hard to put a link onto it because it comes straight out.
Yeah.
I can't add a link to it. I can add a link into the promo like I did earlier, but while the show's live, you have to go onto either Real News or one of my profiles just to get it on. You know, but after it, I can actually share it to you because I can edit it.
Okay.
And then I can put your link in.
All right, then. That'd be good.
I'm sure somebody can put at Christy Tucker in the comments, and that will get to you just the same.
All right, because at the moment I'm banned off everything.
Right, then. So, what's been happening this week, folks? I know there's a demo on Saturday up in Leeds. I believe it's a 15-minute city one. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. So that's on Saturday. I haven't got the poster for it. I'm sorry, folks. I've been extremely busy the last week. What have you been up to? What did you do Saturday? Because you went to Liverpool, didn't you?
Yeah, I went up. Well, we went up. 3 of us. We drove up on the Friday. We met up with the Liverpool group, which are a brilliant group up there that have been out doing different like banners on bridges and outreaches, and they do protests, and they've been, you know, to the hospitals, and they've done everything you can think of over the last 3 years. So we met up with them. We did banners on bridges with the Liverpool group. And then we went out with them then. We went for a few drinks at the pub, and we actually had a real laugh. We had a brilliant night. We had those, do you know those £20 notes? They look like £20 notes. And on the other side, they're about keep cash alive. So the girls were folding them up and putting them on the stairs. So every time someone went to the toilet, but You know, when you've had a couple of drinks and it was hysterical. Yeah, they were picking them up, and some, like one of them, bent down and put it in his sock. We were just crying, tears rolling down our faces. And some of them, they were picking them up and they were like looking at them, and then realizing that they weren't real £20 notes. And then we were all burst out laughing. I said, "This is terrible. We're just completely embarrassing people." We kept putting them back on the stairs and people kept picking them up. It was funny.
Yeah, I actually I like Liverpool. It's a nice city to go out in as well. I have been out there a few times. I've been up there a few times as well, and I do like the city, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's great. Great people. It wasn't too bad with them. There wasn't too many. It was really weird. There wasn't many LGBT flags everywhere. LGBT, yeah. There wasn't hardly any. It was really weird. But
Watch what you say, because I don't want to see you on the far right watch group of Wales again. That you're bringing the show down. You're bringing this show down because they'll attack me.
It's you that's doing that. It's not me.
Well, when you're mentioning stuff
I'm
about,
just saying they didn't have the flags there, but they did have Ukraine, so we were all right. They're not free from propaganda. There was Ukraine everywhere. Boats was hanging off people's houses. It was on churches everywhere.
Oh, crackers. Well, I'll tell everybody. Well, last night I covered PCP Wales presentation night. The film quality was absolutely shit because I couldn't get a proper signal. But to be honest with you, when I look back, I've got most of it, so it's not that bad, folks. I just people did get to watch it. There was probably about 2,500 views, I think, on it in all or whatever together. So it weren't that bad, folks. So
Good.
It's Sunday. I went to a protest. Well, let's start about a week last Sunday. I went to a public meeting in Llanelli, and it was with the locals. It was regarding a hotel which has got 77 rooms. Now, the first report was it was 314 illegal immigrants going into that hotel. Now, some people got an issue about saying illegal or asylum seekers. At the end of the day, the people who are probably going to end up in there, we're not sure. They are going to be illegal immigrants, I would have thought. And my train of thought. Well, anyway, there was 386 people in that public meeting, and they were on about moving 314 into this hotel, the Stradi Park Hotel in Llanelli, or just outside in a little village called Furness with a population of 400. So you can imagine it would double in size overnight. The majority of the people in that room did not, out of the 386 people, 384 put their hands up and said they did not want it. They did not want it at all. But now they've been protesting outside since Monday, a week last Monday. They've been protesting because obviously certain reasons. If they are all men that turn up, the crime rate is going to go up, if you like it or not. It will do. And can you imagine a small village like that they have cut the numbers down to go in there now. It's still going to be 314 for the local area, but 207 for the hotel in 77 rooms. Smells trouble to me anyway. And the other 107 will go into emergency accommodation or something like that around the rest of the Carmarthen area. They've already taken 500 in. Of Ukraine's and stuff like that. But the locals are worried because they don't know who's actually coming to the village. Nobody's actually telling them. But they are hearing rumours by the media are pushing it's a Ukraine families. Now, I've never heard of Ukraine families going into hotels. They normally go into people's houses or they get provided accommodation. Now, if they're provided houses like they already have been, above the locals, they go above the list of the locals, where there's 8,000 people on, then there's a problem.
Definitely. Definitely.
It's going to cause a problem. It doesn't matter if they're refugees, asylum seekers, whichever way you want to put them, or illegals. Now, illegal, there are things, if they're all men and they came over by boat, they're illegal. As far as I'm concerned, they broke the law. It's like somebody breaking into your house and saying, oh, that's okay. That's breaking the law. Now, if somebody breaks into your country, it's exactly the same. You're meant to have an ID. You're meant to have a passport or documentation. So you're breaking the law. But because you've put your foot on the sand and then claim asylum, because they're told what to say when they come into this country. Do you mean this? Because they pay all these thousands to come over here. Why don't they fly over here? Do you mean instead of paying 5,000 to come over on a boat where they can actually just get on a flight with their documents and come in legally, and then claim asylum? No, they're doing it illegally, throwing their documents over, and then they're coming into the country. And any more of this rubbish, say, oh, they come from a war-torn country. I'm telling you this now, folks, right? If they come from a war-torn country, why aren't they fighting for the country? And why is it like 95% or maybe 96% of men are coming over on the boats and they're leaving their children and their wives at home? And then I hear the other excuse then to that argument is, oh, well, it's dangerous for them to come over here on the boat. We come over, we'll claim asylum, and then we'll bring our families over. Would you leave your family and children in a war-torn country where they got a chance of getting raped and killed? I don't think you'd take them with you, wouldn't you?
You'd either take them with you or you'd stay with them or you'd send them first. There's no way. There is absolutely no way you would just leave them there in the middle of, if they were in a war-torn country. It doesn't quite ring true to say. Hiya, James.
No, it
doesn't ring true.
Yeah, it doesn't ring true, like, do you mean? And it's not that. Our country, right, took in 606 normal refugees last year, do you mean, into this country. And that's without the ones that came on the boat. Now, I'm sorry, but the cost of just the boats, what was it, about £7 million, £7 million a day just in hotels. So our country is actually in a cost of living crisis. We can't afford it. We love helping everybody else. That's fine. I got no problem with a real refugee coming over here from a war-torn country, which is a family of mother and children, not including the father, because they should be fighting for their country. Do you mean? It's simple as that. It's always been that way. The men fight for their country and the women stay home with the children and that, or they support them in other ways. So I have got a major issue that we can't afford it anymore in this country. We can't have illegal immigration. We can't have refugees. Well, if they're from war-torn countries and their families, that's fine. But you cannot have men coming over here, jump in the list. You can't have these other people jump in the list either, to be honest with you, because our local people, indigenous people of this country, pay their taxes all their lives and they're not going to get no support. It's going to affect our NHS, which it already has, and people will say, no, the NHS was already going down, but it wasn't. You try getting a doctor's appointment. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And these people who are coming over, they automatically get, screened straight away, like. So, no. It's not racist. It's not racist to think of your country first. It's not racist at all. But the far left and the lefties, that's all they can do. Just label you as far left, far right. You're a racist. You're a Nazi. You're a bigot. No. What do you mean? Just for instance, I said it the other day. There's a guy serving 29 years, right? We're thinking of safety of our country as well here, folks. So a 29-year-old, a guy is serving 29 years for killing a man for trying to take his scooter in Bournemouth, folks, right? Do you know what I mean? We let him into the country. I've got a phone full of charges of different people and that, right? But he was already wanted in in Syria for 2 murders, and he escaped. He escaped into Britain over on a dinghy, and then he murders again in this country. Do you know what I mean? And we've got to talk about these things because nobody else is going to talk about it, and the left aren't certainly going to talk about it. They're going to say, "Oh, that's just one instance. What about the people of Britain? They're doing exactly the same." Yeah, but let's get it straight. We don't invite people into our country to do it. That's a difference.
No, that's right. We need to sort out the mess this year before there's so much going on. There's far too much going on. There's far too much people suffering mental health, living in terrible poverty and conditions here in this country that need help.
Yeah, definitely.
And they should come first. And then once that was sorted out, but we know this is all about corruption. It's corruption from the top. There's a reason that they're doing it. This isn't that they're doing it to be nice to these people because they really like them, is it?
Yeah. Don't worry, that's a joke. That's a smiley face. Oh, Phil, you bigot. I'm no bigot. It's just reality.
Realistic.
Can you imagine Furness now, right? If it is families, right? It's only a small school. At the end of the day, what about when it comes to September for the locals? They're trying to get a place in that nursery or something. They're going to be pushed back to the bottom of the list just to appease refugees which are coming into the country or illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
it's just wrong. Like, and there's another issue I don't like. Right, is these companies who provide accommodation for the Home Office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a council will actually pay up to £800, say, for a 2-bedroom place for a family or anything. But if it was us, there would be a maximum cap on it of, say, £600.
Mm-hmm.
But because you're an illegal immigrant or you're a refugee, it goes up for you. You know, how's that work?
Yes.
So you can jump a list. You can afford a better house. The house is looked after by the agency which gives out accommodation for the government. So any damage done to it, they get free bills, electric and gas. They even get money, food.
I think, why are they here? I'm a bit scared about why. Why are they bringing them all of a sudden, so many, into all the, what's the Liverpool group called?
Yeah, what's the Liverpool group called? You can't remember, can you? Even though that you're like
they're my favourite, the Liverpool group. You can't have my Liverpool group. They're the best.
What are they called?
Well,
Banners on Bridge Liverpool.
Yeah, they do banners on bridges, but they sometimes, I know they're with sometimes Liverpool Liberate. Is it Liverpool Liberate? I'm with Liverpool People's Resistance, but there is a group called Liverpool Liberate. I know they do a lot of stuff with them as well.
Do you want to see this?
I'll try and find the...
There you go. I don't know if you can see it.
What's that? What?
You can't post to groups at the moment.
Drives you nuts, doesn't it?
Yeah,
they're on Telegram, but I don't know. Liverpool Liberate. Let me see if I can find them.
Yeah, so Serco, yeah, definitely. They're part of it as well, but there's another company as well. It's I can't remember it now, that was dealing with Llanelli. But that's the other point, right? This hotel, folks, right? Let's get this. It's a local tourist attraction because people stay there. They stay in this hotel. Golfers go to a golfing. It's a spa. It's a 4-star hotel, folks, right? So you've got a lot of tourism in West Wales, and people stay there. So there's 100 jobs, part-time and full-time, in this hotel. Now, as soon as the government takes over that building or hires it, that's what they do, basically. Hires the hotel, they repair the damage, you don't provide the staff, the government provides the staff, and it's all put back into good repair afterwards. Now, those 100 people who are working in that hotel will be laid off, but the other people brought in, and they'll be taking their jobs. They'll have security, they'll have special chefs to do their food, they'll have certain areas to do what they want. They will be allowed out. They'll be allowed out whenever they want, because you can't keep an asylum seeker locked up. This is the rule.
illegal.
unless they committed a criminal offence. It's the same. Yeah, but our government, they're not standing with the people. At the end of the day, if somebody jumps off a dinghy and says, "I claim asylum in this country for persecution," that you can't disprove it. So then they become a asylum seeker. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wrong, and they've originally broken it anyway by coming into what was it, the water limit? Is it 5 mile or is it a mile? They break the limit anyway. And the thing is, it's our RNLI and Border Force. Bring them over. They should be towing them back that way, or meeting them halfway in the middle of the channel. Why are they doing that? Like, this government is totally screwed. It's totally screwed, and it's costing us all money.
Yeah, I'm sick of it. We need to off with it in the government.
No, don't say thing. I don't mind sticking a pin in their dinghy, like doing.
Not with them. The government.
The government should be ashamed of what they do.
It's not. It's not their fault if they get offered a hotel room of money. I mean, who's going to turn it down? You know, if they offered me to go over to Australia and they said, "We're going to pay for your phone, give you money, look after you, you're going to stay in a nice hotel," like, you can't really blame them. I'd be like, "Oh yes, let's go."
So in other words,
the people at the top.
At the end of the day, they're economic migrants. That's the correct word for it. Economic migrants who come over to this country, whilst your locals and the people who have been born and bred here, who pay taxes, will suffer because of people who come over here from another country because of economic migrants. And we let it happen. Well, we don't let it happen. It's the politicians. That's who lets it happen. And what makes me laugh about Llanelli as well, because it's on her own doorstep. The MP, she came on the Sunday night. They all lied, right? The MP and the councillors in Llanelli, they all lied for 4 weeks. They decided it's not coming out into public until they got found out, and they got found out. So, but she was dead against it, though. She shouldn't have them here. But she stood up in Parliament complaining. Now she campaigns for open borders, but because it's half a mile from her house, it's a completely different story. Do you mean?
This is the thing.
You can't make it up.
This is what I want to know, right? Is the people who say, yes, you should let them all come over. Honestly, now, I think those people should be the ones that they move them right next door to. And then the other people who say, no, keep them away. But the majority of people who are saying, oh, bring them in, they probably don't even want them near them when they realise that they're in the houses next door to them, causing God knows what's going on. And, you know, they're in the hotels and everything. They're finding out there's more assaults and rapes going up and different things. And then they'll say, oh, God, I wonder what's going wrong. It's like, you can't just bring these people in without proper vetting. Like, if you went to Australia, you'd have to be a particular type of person. You'd have to show them that you're going to work, that you're going to do this. And that's fine, because you have to, you know, get through. But these ones, we don't know what they're about, do we? We don't know who they are. We don't know if they've been vetted. And some people think, like someone just said, that are they EU soldiers?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. But what I do know is a lot of criminals are coming over, and the left can attack me on this as much as they want. Right? You can write whatever you want about me. It's quite funny because it gets more of you to watch my stuff. Like, I mean, it's quite good. So thank you very much for watching. But
there'll be traffic wardens.
I don't. They doxed me last week as well. They did a write up after your write up.
They wrote about me. Because I said something about the Eisteddfod. No, it's disgusting what they did. They're having a little corner for LGBTQ plus, and I just think, like, why are they doing that? And the Eisteddfod is supposed to be traditional about Wales, it's Welsh. Why are they doing that in the corner? Like, unless you have a section right in the corner for celebrating being straight, celebrating being gay, celebrating for being Muslim, celebrating for being Christian, unless we start segregating up everyone and saying we're going to put this area for those people, it's pathetic. They put an area for people to go to the LGBT for kids and a nice Eisteddfod. So I obviously spoke about that.
LGBTQ.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What has kids have got to do with LGBT?
Well, for me, I was shocked. I find it shocking because this is a school trip or a school thing where I thought they go there to tradition, do Welsh things and sing nice in Welsh and then they've put this in. You can see it's a massive agenda, and that's what I don't like. This isn't being naturally done. This is being forced upon us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's the same as the sex education, like in it at the minute, like doing the things which are going through. It's just so bad to even think about, and parents aren't even. I would say 75% of parents are not even aware what the kids are being taught in school, because if they did, they'd be out on the streets in their thousands. It's just pretty sickening, really, what's happening in our schools. Absolutely sickening. Definitely.
So why were you on the watch list then, mister? What have you done now?
Basically, because I've been supporting Llanelli. Because basically, they bring up other things like I was at the No 15 Minute City with my clown outfit on, like doing my purple hair. You can't hide. We know who you are. So they doxed all my profiles. They doxed my groups. But I have got some really good admin who have actually. Well, I'm sorry, but you're all banned from my groups. You can come onto my page. You can watch this as much as you want. You can comment as much as you want. But my admin will get rid of the comments. And that's a definite. So good luck to that. I will be banning all them as well, so they won't be able to see eventually. But Stand Up to Racism, Swansea. Yeah, it's a Sunday. You've got all locals outside that hotel. There must have been about 80, 90, maybe 100 locals.
Oh, that's good.
And then you get Stand Up to Racism turns up. Shipped in from Swansea. Not even locals. They came from Swansea. They were pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Not like your normal ones. No Antifa were there. I was surprised there was no Antifa. But they could just about, I reckon they just about scraped together a 14-seater minibus. Anyway. Not like the locals who live on the doorstep, who are fighting for the right thing. But obviously these nutcases on the left, they just want them in there. They want them to be crushed into a room, 77 rooms and 207 of them. Anyway, well, that just spells trouble for a start. Anyway, and when it's a hotel, it's meant to be for tourism and in the village, and it's a very famous hotel where top rugby players go to play and stuff like that. And it's a 4-star hotel, and it is a not really nice hotel. Like. So I just found it ridiculous with these lefties. But I can guarantee you this week, there's going to be a demo on a Saturday. There's going to be one on Sunday. We'll put the posters out later, folks. I haven't got them now. And there's going to be outside the hotel, Saturday and Sunday, big demos. So everybody can come and go and support them. Because it's only going to come to a hotel near you, folks. So you might as well try to stop it now. Then you know what to do when you have to do it. And then I'm sure people from other areas are going to come out and come and help you. So the surrounding areas, please go in and support them. Because they need to stop this. Because it will happen to you. And you'll go on the waiting list for to see a doctor. You can't get in touch with a doctor, a hospital appointment, or your kids can't go to school. They have to fight for a place in the school. Or you can't get housing because other people have taken your housing in your local area.
Oh God!
Did you know 606 people came into this country last year, right? 47, I think it's 47,000 illegal immigrants come in by boat, and only 250,000 houses were built by the council. How's that work?
They're replacing us with them.
I'm not sure if it was by the council. I think that's incorrect. It's actually 250,000 houses were built in the country, not by the councils.
Oh, it's awful.
Councils don't really build houses anymore.
No, they don't. I don't think they do. You're right. That's because they're busy building smart houses, smart cities.
But you know where it's gone downhill, mind, don't it? I don't like Margaret Thatcher and all that. I certainly don't. I'm sure Margaret Thatcher gave you the right to buy. Now the council, if they sold your house, they should replace it and build another one. As far as I'm concerned. Do you mean because they've been
right to buy a few years ago? You know.
Yeah, but for 2 decades, you had the right to buy.
Yeah.
So they should have been buying out, building houses with the money they were making off the houses which they were selling. But I haven't seen council estates going up left, right, and centre. Have you? No. Or can you tell me any council houses which have gone up? Council estates?
No, I don't think so. Not as far as I'm aware. But there's definitely, I know a few years ago, I remember someone that I know wanted to go onto the council list and they're having problems. And they said, listen, you're talking 10, 11 years waiting list. That was, I don't know, it was quite a few years ago now. But, you know, when you think that, like 10, 11 years for people who live here to wait for a house, if, you know, you think, oh, what's going on? Like, you know, the world's crazy. We should be looking after the people here first. And then when we've got enough sorted here, and then you can bring in families that are in need. But that's just not what's happening.
Facebook user said, that's John Peake. You're actually, I can see on my phone. That's John Peake, Facebook user. He is right there, because if you look at Khan, he actually built a small village in London just for refugees. Just for refugees.
Okay, great. But you know what? Yeah. We're in a bit of trouble here, aren't we?
Well,
they're paying the landlords, aren't they? The landlords are not turning it down. And I think, did someone say that they're paying the landlords, and then if there's any damage, they'll pay the damage as well and everything? So the landlords have got nothing to worry about.
Well, what they're actually doing with the rental market, they're actually buying them. They're saying to the landlords, these people who work for the Home Office for the asylum seekers and refugees and illegals, what they're actually saying is, we'll give you 10 years money up front for your house.
Yeah.
We'll pay you for your house. Any damage done to it afterwards, we'll keep the repairs going on the property as well. Right. And we're giving back to you the same state you've given it to them, like, you know. And what they're actually doing is paying the landlords more money than what they normally get. So say that their landlord was getting £600 a month for their property, they're actually now getting between 700 and 800 as well. So. Right.
Oh, there you are. Someone's just said there's a few by me, mixed council and bought. It's gone off my screen now. If they were doing, it doesn't make sense. Then it's an agenda. If they're doing it, yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's an agenda. We know it's an agenda, don't we? Really, we know that this is a massive agenda. This is not happening by accident. This is being done absolutely on purpose, isn't it? Flooding us with people from over there for whatever their agenda is going to be.
Yeah, the housing associations, there's meant to be this. they've taken over the council stock, and they built some themselves. But they do make quite a bit of money off it. The housing associations, the councils. I mean, they have no say in the matters of the housing stocks anymore, because the likes of Harvard, Wales and West, they've taken over it, and it's the same as over in different parts of the country as well. But the council should actually be building the houses, not the housing associations. They should, because they should be owned by us. This is the other issue I had about buying your homes off the councils, was because all the local people who have been paying their taxes, they paid for those houses to be built. I know it was cheap housing for them and right to buy and everything. It's a really good idea, but it's not really, because if you're not putting the money that you get back off selling that house and put it back in, you've already made a profit off it, and put that profit into more houses. Whatever rent you get and what you sell it for, that should have been put back into the pot to build more houses. Do you know what I mean? Not less. The population's increasing, it's not decreasing. And council should have to be under the obligation to do that, because you pay your taxes. As simple as that. All right, then. I'm going to stop my moaning now, I am.
I thought it was a good idea to right to buy and everything, give people the opportunity to buy their own houses and stuff. At the end of the day, the way that we're paying taxes on every single thing that we do, whether it's drive a car, we're paying tax on food, we're paying tax on alcohol, we're paying tax when we buy cigarettes, we buy this, buy that. Everything's taxed, isn't it? So we all pay it. I know some pay more than others, but flipping heck, we're just completely screwed over anyway, no matter what we do. And we're never going to do an awful lot better. And that's the way they kept it, haven't they? They made it so that everybody is constantly struggling and trying to just survive, really. And I think that's why people are too busy to really realise what's going on at the moment and really take notice of the sex education and all the other things that are going on, because they're just so busy. People are trying to keep their head above water. They're trying to work, they're trying to pay their bills, that's what I think. I think people are just so bogged down.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I could go on and on about the subject. There is one thing. You're on about taxes and that. One of the worst taxes, right, is inheritance tax. Right? Can you imagine? Right? You've been left the 6 kids. Your family, your mother and father worked all their lives, right? And your mother's just died, and the last parent you've got has just died, right? And you're living in, say, £1 million house. There's 6 kids. Now you're going to get taxed on that £1 million house.
Mm-hmm.
You as kids got to pay it, so you have to sell the house. Now they pay taxes all their lives. It's another stealth tax, because they go by the combination. So if it was split up, say it was five kids, right? That's 200 grand each. You wouldn't get taxed on it, right? You get your share. But because it's a £1 million house, and it has to be sold to split it between everybody, because it was worth £1 million, the net cost of it, you have to pay tax. You all have to pay. I think it's 30-odd% tax, So you're paying through the arse, which your parents have already been taxed on by buying the house, and now the kids are getting taxed again. Why is that allowed?
We've got such corrupt people running all this. They're all loaded and living it up. It's wrong, isn't it? Yeah, you're right though about that. It's so wrong, Phil, isn't it? It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's sick. Because just for instance, right, it was a family home, and one of you decided, all right, I'll keep it. I'll get a mortgage on it, right? But you're going to get taxed on it. You are still going to get taxed on it if you wanted to keep it or not. I mean, so you have to pay. You'll have to pay for your mortgage, then you'll have to pay for your tax. It just.
I think there was a time when people got wise to that and they started like signing over their children houses like a few years before they died to ensure that. But I think after a while that became, they started to clock onto that and noticed that people were starting to hand them over. So they made that a bit harder, I think, because I know quite a few people who sort of, their parents did manage to sign them over a few years before they passed away. But now I think it has to be quite a big chunk before, you know.
Yeah, it's you can do it with your money, but obviously you can't do it with your assets. You can't do it with houses and stuff like that. It has to be like I think there is quite a few years before you've got to give it away to your kids. So basically, if you retire and you've paid off your house, you might as well just put it in your kid. Or once you've finished paying your mortgage, you might as well just give it to your kids.
Exactly.
You know, it really stuffs them up, and then they can't tax you on it. But
no,
if you wait until to the last minute or the last year, then you're going to get taxed on it. As simple as that.
Yeah, if you do it last minute, they won't. They don't fall for that now. They know people are doing it.
Yeah, of
And
course.
good for them.
Yeah, of course.
They should have done it.
Of course, they should do. At the end of the day, it's a stealth tax. You know what I mean? All right, then.
Right.
I want to thank my guest who was on tonight, David Chick. Absolutely amazing, folks. You can see his book is at the bottom of the screen, scrolling along. You can buy it on Amazon for £12.99, I think it is, and £6 on Kindle, so you can actually get the downloaded version onto your phone.
Yeah.
Or you can email David Chick Chick at hotmail.co.uk. You can get it from there. Also, if you do want to help him, because he has spent quite a lot of money doing the stuff he's been doing on that, trying to dismantle that statue. Like, so let's see if I can find it. Banners. Right, so if you want to drop a couple of quid in for a coffee or something like that into his bank account, that's scrolling along the bottom for a few minutes, a few seconds. I don't want to leave it on there too long, but if you want to donate something to David, he's done a hell of a lot for the kids, as far as I'm concerned, and trying to get that statue down, standing up for fathers as well. So he's quite a good guy, like to me. But you can support him by buying the book as well. Like I said, it's at the bottom of the screen. So I'd like to say thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for Christy for co-hosting.
Can I just say about the person who asked about the Liverpool group? If you are living in Liverpool and you do want to get involved with some stuff like banners on bridges and stuff, can you message me so that I can give you the link to get into the group? Because I'm not going to put it onto so that everyone will get in it. Only if people really want to do something in Liverpool, then I'll send you the link. So it's Christy Tucker, and you can message me on Messenger.
Yeah, that's great. There was something else. I can't remember at the moment. Well, it's gone now, folks. I wouldn't worry about it. It can't be that important. But yeah, they've said they'll PM you, Christy.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, if you just send me a message, and I'll give you the link.
Yeah, my admin has been on the ball tonight because I know you can only see Facebook users, right? I can see the names on my phones actually when it's going live, who's commenting on that. And the reason why is because we've put it onto the group instead of the page this time, because my admin can actually control all the comments. So if there's any lefties on there, they can whip them off. They can ban them from the group. It's a great way of catching them, like doing. So we're going to be doing this all the time. So don't be offended if you see Facebook a user. That's fine, folks. But if you do want to see it, if you want to see your name up there, then all you have to do is go onto YouTube. You can watch Real News, Live News, and then it'll have your name that will come up, pop up, and folks, the best way. So admin have done a really brilliant job again. I'll probably be live tomorrow as well. That will be internationally. I'm going down. They've had boulders delivered, Christy.
What?
boulders. We're not sure if it's a council have supplied the boulders because they're against it. There's just enough room for a car, not for a bus. A bus was going in today for, I think it was a christening, and it couldn't get in because the boulders were too not wide enough. So,
Interesting.
but I reckon they could get minibuses through there. So that's probably they'll be their way of getting people in is through minibuses if they are going to take them in. But we'll see. We'll see how this story pans out, folks.
All right. Well, I look forward to watching you live.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah. Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.
Let's get.
Night, Phil.
Yeah. Good night, Christy. Let's get.
You putting Darren on or Spider?
Yeah. No, I'm going to put Darren on. I am. Let's see if I can get to him. Yeah. So I'm going to put Darren's rap. He's an amazing guy. He wrote it. He sang it. And here we go again. I'll catch you all next week or on a live during the week. Bye-bye. Bye all.
Okay, picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intercoastal. And we're in one of these bands.
So that's my side, Dell, in Wilmington, North Carolina. But as he races and fights to win Friday, check out the two guys who seem to walk right by him in the background there with no trouble at all. The video has been shared more than 1 million times on social media. Now it's the
Cruising, losing, looking for some news and losing is amusing. Other people choosing the topics I can view and the subjects I can chew on, the facts that I can spew and the news they put their slew on. Twisty, turny, wriggly, wormy, squealy, squirmy news. Psychopathic journalists deceiving with their views. Tightening like a tourniquet, they're aiming to confuse. Nightly negative narratives narrating you the blues. Blues and twos, new taboos, the pasta's all sold out. The hurricane's incoming and the world is dying out. Asteroids, blasteroids, steroids in their tails. The windiest ever windy gales are blowing in the dales. The sea levels are rising at a super duper rate. 247 365, the caliphate's your fate. Tidal waves are waving like the death rays from the sun. Duck and cover, stand your ground, there's nowhere else to run.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy.
Right in